All right, seventh graders, we are ready to start trying to design our dragsters using TinkerCAD. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get logged into your TinkerCAD class. You've been practicing that now for the last couple days, so you should be comfortable with that. If you're not sure how to get into TinkerCAD, make sure that you reach out to your teacher and ask so you can get into our class. We are going to start today by creating a new design. So right here in the middle, you see this blue button that says create a new design. You are going to click on that. When you click on that, it's going to open up a blank kind of page, a blank canvas. And so we are going to, there's going to be a couple of things that we want to do before we start actually making our car. The first thing that we want to do is we want to give this a title or a name. And you can see up here in the upper left-hand corner, this one says Funky Firan to Mellow. TinkerCAD just gives it weird names. So if I click on this, I can change the name. And so we are going to label this as Dragster, and then please put your name after it just so we know whose is whose. Okay, so Dragster, and then I'm putting my last name, Severson. You can put your first name, your last name, both, whatever. All right, so we want to rename that. That's the first thing that we want to do to this project. The second thing we want to do is we want to change the units. If I look back at my specification chart, remember all of these measurements, these dimensions that we had were all in inches? If I look on TinkerCAD right now, down here in the bottom corner, it says 1.0 mm, millimeters. We don't want to measure in millimeters. If I click this, I can change kind of the size of the grid, but it's still all in millimeters. So we want to actually have our units that we're measuring in be inches. So we're going to click on this button down here at the bottom that says Edit Grid. When I click on Edit Grid, I'm going to go to Units, Millimeters, and you see there's inches and bricks. Well, we're measuring in inches, so we want to choose inches. Don't worry about the width and the length, that doesn't matter. That's just the default. We want to click Update Grid. Now you can see that this grid looks a little bit different. Down here in the bottom it says 1/8 of an inch. So that just means each of these little tiny spaces is 1/8 of an inch. If you want to change this to 1/4 or really tiny, you can do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to, I guess I'll just leave it as 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so you don't need to do anything there, but we do want to change it so that it is measuring in inches, not in millimeters. If you need to pause the video right now, pause the video and do that. Now that we have this in inches, we are ready to start creating our car. You can do this however you want. A lot of you are probably going to know how to do this a lot better than your teachers because we're learning this right along with us. And a lot of you have had experience with this more so than we have, or something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of drag a box over here. I'm going to start with kind of that block of wood or that box. Okay, I might have to go back to my design notebook to look at what the dimensions are. So the length is somewhere between 6 and 7 1/4 inches. You're going to want to go back to your drawing, go back to your final drawing right here to look at how long you decided to make your car. Okay, this has the dimensions and the style of what you want your car to look like, your final drawing. So use that as your plan. I'm just going to go here and say, okay, it needs to be between 6 and 7 1/4 inches. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to make the car. Over here you see length right here. If that doesn't appear to you, you can click this little arrow. And now I can make this car. I'm going to make mine, I'm just going to say 6 inches. So I type in 6 inches, I hit enter, and it makes the car 6 inches long. Okay, then we need to go back to the width. How wide was this car? Well, the car was a block of wood. The starting point was 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to type in 1, but now for the width, I can't type in 1.5. I don't think that works. It doesn't work when I hit enter. It's still just 1 inch. So I have to be able to convert fractions to decimals. 1/2 I know is 0.5, so 1.5 is 1.5. I can type that in as a decimal, hit enter, and now my car is wider. It's 1.5 inches. Then I want to go to the height. Let's see, height was located I know I'm missing it right here. Here it is. Nope. The height of the initial car, I guess that is not in the specification chart, or I'm just completely missing it, was 1 3/4 of an inch. I believe that was up above. Okay, 1 3/4 of an inch. So again, 3/4 as a decimal, 3/4 is 75 cents, 0.75. So I'm going to type in 1.75 and hit enter. And now here is my starting block. So I can spin this around and I can look at it. Okay, that is the easiest way to change the size of the box. Another way, if I want to go back, I'm just going to go back to my starting point here. If I drag this box, another way to actually change the shape would be to just type right here on the grid. So I can drag this right here, and you can see that the numbers down below are changing to mixed numbers and fractions. I can also click in that box right there. Remember, the width was 1.5, so I can type in 1.5, hit enter. I can go over here, the length, I wanted to make this 6, hit enter. The height, I believe, is right here. It's 1 inch. So I could click on this and make this 1.75 inches as well. So that's just another way of kind of dimensioning kind of your starting point. Now what you're going to want to do first, if you ever get something and it's just like, holy cow, I don't know how to see this, over here on the side where you have the little home button, click on that and that will take you right back to where you started. Okay? If you have trouble kind of changing the view cube. Now the first thing that you're going to want to do is create the holes, because remember, you don't want to have these holes going all the way through, especially the air hole going through the car, because then the air from the track blows right through your car and your car's not going to go anywhere. So we need to create those air holes. And so you have gone through the tutorials on creating holes and doing work. And so the rest of this now is up to you just to try to design that car. If you are having a difficult time designing your car, please ask your teacher for help in your Google Meet. It works really well when you're in your Google Meet and you share your screen, because if you have that question, there are going to be other classmates that have that question as well. So if I want to create a hole, I'm just going to create a bigger hole than you are going to want. Remember, you need to use this information right here. So the axle holes, these are where the wheels are going to go. 3/16 from the bottom of the wood. So if I'm measuring up from the bottom here, 3/16 up. Okay, from the front, it's going to be 1 inch. So the front wheels are going to be 1 inch. So if I click on, here's the front. So the front wheels are going to be at least 1 inch back. I can use this grid. This grid right here, each of these big rectangles is 1 inch. So I can see that the wheel needs to be at least right here. And then I also need to know the kind of the diameter of the axles as well, which is 5/32. Now you might have to use a calculator to figure out what this is as a decimal. Because remember, when we are working with inches and we're changing this from, or when we are entering things, I can't type in fractions. You might find that you are able to, and that's great, but if you do need to change it to a decimal, remember, to change a fraction to a decimal, we divide. 5 divided by 32 is going to change this fraction to a decimal. All right, so if I want to create a hole, I'm going to take a cylinder. Well, I want the hole kind of going through here where the wheels are going to go. So I don't want to work my work plane right now, and this was from one of your tutorials on making dice and putting numbers on the side. I want to make the hole that goes through the dragster body this way, side to side. So I need to change the work plane. So I'm going to go over here to the right hand side. I'm going to choose the work plane tool. I want to draw something over here, so I'm going to click that. Now I can grab this cylinder. I can put the cylinder right here on the side. I can view this from different angles. So now I don't want this to be 1 inch in diameter, so I need to change the diameter of this. So if this is the axle hole, I'm going to change the diameter to 5/32. Let's see if I can type in a fraction, 5/32. That just put 5. That is not what I want. So I'm going to undo this over here. So I need to change 5/32 to a decimal. I do the division. I'm getting my calculator out right now. So 5 divided by 32 is 0.156. I'm just going to go different decimals, just round to, you know, the nearest. If you get a whole bunch of decimal points, just round to the nearest thousandth place. 0.156. I'm going to go over here. I also need to make this one 0.156. And now there is the axle hole. That's the diameter that I want it to be. And that information, again, comes from right here, 5/32. I do need to make this the right height here. So rather than being an inch, I want this to go all the way through. So I'm just going to create this to be 2 inches long. I can push, using this arrow, I can kind of push the hole through that way. You can see that it kind of sticks out. If I look at this from the side, I can grab the arrow and just kind of drag it this way even more if I would like. Now, if you remember from the creating the holes, tutorial, if I click on the hole that I just created, the cylinder, I use shift and I click on the box. I get the little group icon up here. I can group those. And now it looks like I actually have a hole in there, and I can look at it from the side, and if I look at it from the side, I can see that it actually goes through. I can look at it from the other side, and there's the hole. Now obviously that is not in the correct spot, so I would want to move that down to the bottom of my car before I group this. So if I need to undo this, I need to undo it. Okay, now this car right here, I can use my arrows and I can move it down, kind of move it where I want it to be. And then I can group them, and now that hole is where it needs to be. Okay, so have fun with this, enjoy this, make your car. Don't forget about the measurements in your design notebook here, so that your car actually fits on the track. If you have questions, which I'm sure you will, make sure that you ask your teachers and we can help you through this. So happy creating, enjoy creating your dragster, do your best with this, ask your teachers questions, and good luck. Make this dragster, make and design that fastest car possible. Good luck.